Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsaf Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has broken the silence on her recent ouster. In her first remarks since she fled the country, Sheikh Hasina urged her supporters to show their strength in public later this week. Hasina fled to India by helicopter last week amid anti-government protests. Over 450 people died in the unrest leading up to her ouster. Meanwhile, a court in Bangladesh has launched a murder investigation against Sheikh Hasina. The case involves the Bangladeshi police killing a man during last month's civil unrest. Sheikh Hasina is accused of having played a role in the death of a grocer who was shot dead on the 19th of July. The accused also includes 6 top officials from her party, the Awami League. Israeli forces claim that they killed around 100 terrorists in Gaza's Rafah city. They said this operation occurred over the past few days. The Israeli military released videos showing the killing of militants and weapons found in an apartment and a weapons pit. The operation reportedly also targeted hundreds of other militant infrastructure sites. The United States has approved a $20 billion weapons package for Israel. The deal includes F-15 jets, tank cartridges, explosive mortar cartridges, and army vehicles. The deliveries of the F-15 jets are expected to begin in 2029. The other equipment could arrive as early as 2026. US President Joe Biden has said that Iran will not retaliate against Israel if a Gaza ceasefire deal is reached. Biden's comment followed a report indicating that Iran might hold back on retaliation if this week's ceasefire talks are successful. Tehran has threatened to carry out a severe response for the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, which Iran blames on Israel. To support Israel's defense, the US Navy has deployed warships and a submarine to West Asia. Tim Walz, the governor of the US state of Minnesota, held his first solo campaign event since becoming Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick. The event took place in the city of Los Angeles. Walz spoke to thousands of members of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Union. He promised to bring collective bargaining and worker protections nationwide. Walz also warned that a victory for former US President Donald Trump would mean a very different future for workers. The 1.4 million member union has endorsed the US Democratic Party's presumptive presidential candidate, Kamala Harris. US forces deployed in South Korea conducted live-fire drills this morning. Tanks and Apache helicopters were deployed during the drills around the city of Pocheon, near the North Korean border. American and South Korean forces will start their annual joint drills next week. It's called Exercise Ulchi Freedom Shield and it'll begin on August 19th. The governor of Russia's Belgorod region has declared a regional state of emergency. He said it's because of ongoing bombardment by Ukraine. The official described the situation as extremely difficult and tense. He said that daily shelling by Ukrainian forces has destroyed homes and caused civilian casualties. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas met in Novo-Ogaryovo. They spoke about the worsening Palestine-Israel conflict and Gaza's humanitarian crisis. Abbas is in Moscow until today, then he heads to Turkey to meet the President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Russia has close ties with Iran and Arab leaders as well. It has condemned the killings of a Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh, and called for restraint in West Asia. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has confirmed that he will not seek re-election as the head of his party next month. His decision marks the end of his premiership. Kishida said that stepping aside is the first step to show change within Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party. The Liberal Democratic Party is set to hold an internal leadership poll next month. In India, doctors' bodies are divided over a nationwide strike. The strike was triggered by a brutal rape and murder of a trainee doctor in the city of Kolkata last week. Yesterday, one group of doctors, led by the Federation of Resident Doctors Association, called off the strike after meeting with India's Union Health Minister. They said that the Indian government has assured them that a new law will be introduced to protect medics. Meanwhile, others say that they need more concrete assurances before calling off the strike. India has unveiled indigenous kamikaze drones with a 1,000-kilometer range. These loitering munitions have been used in the Russia-Ukraine and Israel-Hamas wars. The drones carry explosives, loiter over targets, and strike on command. They can be deployed in swarms to overwhelm enemy defenses. In climate news, Tropical Storm Ernesto battered the northeastern Caribbean region as it churned towards Puerto Rico. Authorities shut schools and opened emergency shelters amid fears of extreme weather conditions. The storm is expected to turn into a hurricane soon. Puerto Rico's governor also advised citizens to avoid going outdoors. Authorities have predicted severe rainfall in Pakistan for the next 4 days. Islamabad and Rawalpindi are likely to witness heavy rain till August 18th. The forecasters have also predicted storms and lightning along with rain. Landslides that killed over 200 people in the Indian state of Kerala were exacerbated by human-induced climate change, as per a study by the World Weather Attribution Group. The study showed that the rainfall on July 30th, when the natural disaster occurred, was 10% more intense because of global warming. Firefighters are battling a raging wildfire in the U.S. state of Nevada. The wildfire, which started near Nevada's Verde, began on Sunday, and it has ravaged at least 270 hectares of land. So far, firefighters have managed to contain only 8% of the blaze. Another person has died due to extreme heat at Death Valley National Park in the U.S. state of California. This is the second such death, with temperatures topping 43 degrees Celsius. Before this, a motorcyclist had died in July while traveling through the desert. At least one person has died due to Greece's worst wildfire of this year in Athens. The wildfire torched several cars and buildings along with forest fields. Greek authorities have announced compensation and relief measures for those affected by the wildfire. Germany is sweltering under an extreme heat wave. Several parts of the country are witnessing temperatures rising to over 35 degrees Celsius. Temperatures are expected to stay high till the end of this week. At least 68 people have died due to an unusual rainy season in Sudan this year. Heavy rain has impacted western, northern and eastern areas of Sudan. Since June 1st, about 44,000 people have been displaced due to incessant downpour. The rain is worsening the financial strain on the country that's already suffering economic losses due to the ongoing civil war. On to business and tech news. The US Justice Department is reportedly considering breaking up the tech giant Google. Officials are planning to force the firm to sell parts of its business, such as AdWords and the Chrome web browser. Google might also be compelled to potentially divest its Android operating system. This comes after a US court ruled that Google holds an illegal monopoly with its search engine. Meanwhile, Google has unveiled its next-generation Pixel smartphones. The new smartphone series includes the Pixel 9, Pixel 9 Pro, and Pixel 9 Pro Fold. The phones boast Google's next-generation Tensor chipset. They also include exclusive artificial intelligence features. Pixel 9 users will be able to search for information within screenshots. Google has also added a new clear calling feature to these models to improve audio quality. Intel has sold its stake in the British chip firm ARM Holdings. The firm likely raised about $147 million by selling 1.18 million shares of ARM Holdings. This comes as Intel has been facing financial woes. The American chipmaker recently announced plans to lay off about 15% of its workforce. The U.S. state of California has allowed a Chinese self-driving car startup to test its vehicles. WeRide has been allowed to test its driverless cars for the next 3 years. However, the firm won't be able to offer services to the general public. This comes after earlier reports said that the U.S. is planning to ban Chinese self-driving cars and software. An American auto workers union has filed complaints against Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. The United Auto Workers Union has accused them of threatening workers. The union is citing Trump's comments during his interview with Elon Musk earlier this week. The former US president praised Musk for cutting the workforce and not tolerating workers' strikes. The union says that workers cannot be fired for going on strike under federal law. The U.S. state of Texas has sued the carmaker General Motors. The state accuses the firm of collecting and selling driver data without consent. The lawsuit claims that General Motors has installed technology in more than 14 million cars that helps them collect driver data, such as speeding, braking too fast, or not using seatbelts. Texas alleges that General Motors later sells this data to car insurers. The American entertainment firm Paramount Global has announced plans to lay off 15% of its workforce. The move is expected to impact about 2,000 employees. The announcement comes ahead of Paramount's merger with Skydance Media. Paramount says it wants to become profitable by cutting $50 million in expenses before the merger. It's also shutting down the Paramount Television studio. The American online food delivery startup DoorDash has partnered with Warner Bros. Discovery. The firm will provide Warner Bros. Streaming service Max to its paid users in the US. Max offers shows like House of the Dragon, The Wire, and The Sopranos. American coffee chain Starbucks is replacing its CEO Lakshman Narasimhan just over a year after he was appointed. The firm has named Brian Niccol as its new CEO. Niccol is currently heading the fast food chain Chipotle Mexican Grill. His appointment to Starbucks comes as the company has been under pressure. Weak demand in the US and China has strained its business. American candy maker Mars is reportedly nearing a deal to take over Kellanova. The snack producer owns brands like Pringles, Pop-Tarts, Eggo, and Rice Krispie Treats. Reports say that Mars plans to buy Kellanova for nearly $30 billion. If the deal goes ahead, it would be the largest acquisition ever by Mars. Moving to sports, author J.K. Rowling and billionaire Elon Musk are mentioned in a criminal complaint accusing them of cyber harassment against the Olympic champion Imran Khalif. Khalif's attorney confirmed their involvement and suggested that former US President Donald Trump might also face scrutiny in the case. The controversy began after Khalif's match at the 2024 Paris Olympics, where Khalif's opponent withdrew and criticized Khalif's punch. Following the incident, Musk, Rowling, among others, world celebrities falsely accused Khalif of being a man. The decision on Indian wrestler Vinesh Phogat's appeal against her Paris Olympic disqualification has been delayed again by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, or CAS. Phogat was disqualified from the 50 kg wrestling final for being 100 grams overweight. Phogat is seeking a shared silver medal, but the CAS verdict has been postponed. The decision is expected to be announced on August 16th now. India's cricket board, the BCCI, has moved the first T20 international against Bangladesh from Dharamshala to Gwalior on October 6th. The venues for the first and second T20 internationals against England in January 2025 have been swapped, with Kolkata hosting the first and Chennai the second. The venue change for the Bangladesh match is due to renovation work in Dharamshala's dressing rooms. England captain Ben Stokes will miss the rest of the English summer due to a left hamstring tear. He injured himself while batting for Northern Superchargers in England's domestic league, the 100. The injury rules him out of the upcoming 3-test series against Sri Lanka. Stokes hopes to return for England's tour of Pakistan in October. In football, Lionel Messi's Inter Miami have been knocked out of the Leagues Cup. Their title defense came to an end after a 3-2 loss to Columbus Crew in the round of 16. The match was played at a lower.com field, the field of the 2023 Major League Soccer champions. Inter Miami's goals were scored by Matias Rojas and Diego Gomez. Manchester United's Luke Shaw will miss the start of the Premier League season due to a calf injury. The 29-year-old England international sustained the injury during pre-season training. United hope that Shaw will return after the first international break. Manchester United begin their campaign at home against Fulham FC on Friday. Premier League organisers are planning to unveil an AI-powered camera system which will have semi-automatic offside technology. About 28 computer vision cameras will be installed at every Premier League ground. Officials claim that it will reduce the delays caused by VAR and will produce the best officiating setup in the world. Sergi Roberto bid a tearful farewell to FC Barcelona after 18 years and 373 matches. The 32-year-old former captain won 25 titles with the club. Roberto expressed pride in his time at Barca, calling it the club of my life. His contract was not renewed in June and his next club is yet to be decided. In athletics, Valentina Petrillo will be the first openly transgender athlete at the Paralympic Games. She will be competing for Italy in the women's 200 and 400 meters categories. Petrillo transitioned in 2019 and won bronze in both events at last year's World Para-Athletics Championships. Before transitioning, Petrillo secured 11 national titles in the men's category. Australian athletes received a warm welcome home as they landed in Sydney yesterday. The team was greeted by hundreds of supporters at Sydney Airport. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese also cheered the Paris Olympics team from their country. Australia won 18 gold medals at the Paris Games, their best ever gold tally. They finished the Games in 4th place after the US, China and Japan. In entertainment news, Taylor Swift fans have been barred from gathering outside her upcoming concert in London. The move comes after the pop star's concert in Vienna was cancelled due to a suspected terror plot. Taylor Swift is scheduled to perform at London's Wembley Stadium for 5 days starting tomorrow. Her earlier concert in Munich attracted 50,000 extra audience members outside the venue. American rapper and singer Quando Rondo pleaded guilty in a drug case. The 25-year-old is facing charges related to the possession and distribution of drugs, including methamphetamine, cocaine, and marijuana. He was indicted by a U.S. court back in December last year. Quando Rondo is out on bail until his sentencing. Oscar-winning actor Michelle Yeoh won't be part of the third Avatar film, Avatar: Fire and Ash. It was revealed by the franchise's director James Cameron. In 2019, Disney announced that Yeoh would be playing the role of Dr. Karina Morg in the movie. However, Cameron said that it was misreported. He said that the Oscar winner will be a part of the 4th and 5th sequels of the movie. Avatar: Fire and Ash is set to be released in December next year. Actor and model Peggy Moffitt died in the U.S. state of California at the age of 86. The actor's son said that his mother died of complications due to dementia. Moffitt became a sensation in the 1960s for her bold looks. American actor Blake Lively took to Instagram to discuss her recent film, It Ends With Us. She thanked her audience for appreciating the women-oriented movie. Lively's new movie shows the protagonist facing domestic violence from her partner. In a follow-up post, Lively shared a link to a domestic violence hotline number. The third part of Disney's renowned animated franchise Frozen has received a release date. The film will be releasing on November 24th, 2027, on the occasion of Thanksgiving in the US. ABC Network has revealed the full cast of The Golden Bachelorette. The reality show will feature 61-year-old Joan Vassos looking for her suitor among 24 men. Vassos, a school administrator, first appeared on TV in last year's The Golden Bachelor. Among her suitors in the latest show are Mark Anderson, Charles K. and Charles L. Hulu has officially commissioned a new comedy series called Mid-Century Modern. The show's star cast includes Nathan Lane, Matt Bomer, and Nathan Lee Graham. It narrates the story of three gay best friends who decide to spend their golden years living together in Palm Springs. The release date of the series has not been announced yet. The Alex Garland-helmed film Civil War is set for a streaming release on September 14th. The A24 produced movie stars Kirsten Dunst, Kaylee Spaney, and Wagner Moura, among others. The movie will stream on Max but will also be available to purchase on Prime Video and Apple TV+. The lineup for the 2024 Toronto International Film Festival has been announced. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis and Luca Guadagnino's Queer have been added to the list. The festival will also feature special event screenings of the 1994 film Double Happiness, starring Sandra Oh. The festival will be held from September 5th to the 15th, showcasing 276 films. That's all for this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to First.